Hello, I'm much shorter than previous speaker. Okay, we have about 1 hour, and I will try to fit as much as possible in this hour because this presentation basically about everything about VR. I left out VR cybersports, which is a topic of itself. So nice to meet you. I'm Yaraslau Kot, and we'll talk about VR. What is it good for? Is it good for investment, for game development? Let's see. I will use research and cooperation done with such companies as I myself worked with Pros company. We developed games, and also I worked with Combat Vision company, which uses AR for military purposes and for classified. Also, we've done some research with VR Reality. It's a group of VR clubs. They allowed us to do some research on people, which is very nice. Of course, it was very well documented with every single precaution taken, so nothing scary. Also, I'm grateful to Tesla Suit for their input and their permission to use their pictures as well in this presentation, which is at the beginning as well. Wonderful Tesla Suit, full virtual bodysuit, which is amazing. And for iLab, who also with cooperation of Manson and Chernobyl, we created. They created it was fully their achievement. VR Leki, it's like rehabilitation in virtual reality for people after strokes. Also, Iridescent Studio, like the red one in the middle, and their American counterpart, Albelana, where they create a lot of awesome VR, which they use for classes and for virtual conferences, and they've done it like 4 or 5 years ago, so they were ahead of everyone. So you will be able to see in the future, hopefully, if you Google them up, all of them. They're quite awesome companies. And of course, last but not least, I'll tell more about them, is Front Pictures. It's amazing gem, which is a unique form of VR. We'll talk about them later. Okay. If you want to keep track of games in VR, about VR and so on, I advise you this for organization. HDA, it has certain research, and you can find there people who, as you are, passionate about VR and want to make some research together and do some white papers. International Game Developers Association, okay, which I used to be like regional coordinator for. Yes, International Simulation Gaming Association, ISAGA, which is the oldest game developers association in the world. Their scientific magazine is over 50 years old. So can you imagine how old they are and how deep they are? This is why we don't know them. They're so old, they don't know how to promote themselves so far through internet, but it's a bunch of very awesome scholars, and they do a lot of research, and you can publish academic research in their academic journals. Also, a Digital International Game Research Association, with whom we cooperated on numerous publications and researches, which are awesome, and they support with money of Blizzard, of Electronic Arts, and other huge gaming corporations. We use them for good purposes. So, like for example, we've done done research with 50 scholars from all over the world about role-playing game study, Transmedia Foundation, which is also awesome, and many other things. They also have their own journal, which is cool. And of course, as usually, last but not least, I would say the most, the VRER Association. We call them VARA, just to make it short. It's association created especially for promotion of VR, and it's the biggest in the world. Of course, you have to pay huge money to be part of it, but a lot of companies are part of this association, and they really do awesome job. They do a lot of white papers on their webpage. You can find some free stuff. Also, they cooperate with Artillery. It's AR Research Association, but they also do researches compared with AR, VR. I will use some of statistics from there. In this presentation, I will have a lot of numbers, a lot of statistics. I hope it would be the most practical presentation. And I will be talking really quickly because, well, we have to. It's life like that at the moment. You have to hurry to give you as much as possible. And if I will not, and I will not be able to tell you about everything and show you every slide, you will be able to access them through organizers of this conference. Thank you very much, organizers. VR Association is an awesome opportunity for companies to hook in. They hold hundreds of events all over the world. They have jams, they have workshops, and they're trying to promote it as much as possible. And of course, such huge companies as Facebook, as Amazon, everything you can think of, all huge IT dinosaurs, and they all part of AR/VR Association. Okay. And the next question is, where do you think the most of VR is used? The problem is that many people have this wrong perception, especially in this part of the world. Good thing that COVID forced us to understand that we have a lot of other uses for VR, but most people still think that VR is mainly games. But check this out, this research shows that most VR used in healthcare. And entertainment only quarter of what's left. It means that less than 10%. And entertainment also is not considered only games. It's considered also like virtual trips and things like that. Or science, enterprise, education takes a huge toll, and that share increases. We're talking not about sales, not about that numbers. We're talking about the use. So in healthcare, now VR used the most. Survey have been done by VR Association. So as you can see, it's a Digital Health Committee industry survey results. Okay, virtual reality is just small fraction of the huge economic field. It's called experience economy. It's part called multimedia, immersive multimedia technology. It's not just what we used to see, like a headgear and basically some basic element of controllers and stuff. Virtual reality is the effect which you create in the mind in perception of the human being, and you can achieve it with many different means. Virtual reality, which we have more common, like headgear and so on, is just more promoted by companies, which we're used to. So altogether, it's immersive economy, all that part of the huge market which is thriving right now all over the world. And I would say that as immersive market of virtual reality grows, immersive market of real immersive experiences as well grows proportionally. Okay, just imagine what would be virtual reality if for a blind person. Just for a second, if it's gonna work. Let's check it out. Close your eyes for a second and let's hear. Do you feel that you somehow turned out to be under the rain, but it's somewhere near? Actually, it is outside, but we didn't hear it. See, for a blind person, that would be quite a lot. That would be enough to feel himself in the rain, to some extent. So, for a blind person, virtual reality wouldn't be a headphone. He wouldn't need it at all. And so, this immersive economies, this field, this industry has some more areas which we didn't even think about. For example, I was fortunate enough to take part in the creation of games for blind people. And it was also a virtual reality experience. If you're interested in one of them, I had honor to consult. It's free to play, by the way. It's called Blind Legend, and it's free to play mobile role-playing game. You can all play it, and if you want, you can close your eyes and I'll show you the trailer.
Who are you?
My name is Edward Blake.
The Blind Knight.
Mother! Louis!
Are you deaf as well as blind?
I have come for my wife.
Who dares to sully the land of my ancestors?
Tell me when to jump.
You're a monster!
Back, demons!
Look out!
You can open them.
This way, Father.
Quite a lot of stuff going on there, aren't there? So how did you like it? It was quite an intensive game, yeah? You want to take part in this section, just download it. It was done by a French company with support of the government, and it's pretty cool. And if you check it out on the web pages of internet, you can notice that there are quite a lot of whole web resources for people who make games for blind. It's like a whole new industry. And so virtual reality is not just what we see, it's also what we hear, what we feel. It's how we feel to appear in the other world, in the other environment. And the thing is that we can't say that it's not real. No, because psychological research, and we've done quite a lot of it, because in this presentation I will tell you about backdraws and negative moments of virtual reality, about trends, about market numbers, about everything, and then I will tease you with fast forwarding to the end because I will run out of time, and so you could see how much you can get if you download later this presentation. So I will have 120 slides, and I assure you that about 70, at least 70 something of them have numbers. Okay, so virtual reality could be different. For example, Front Pictures, I mentioned again, a gem of Ukraine. It's one of the most famous companies. I mean, they participated in America's Got Talent and got to the finals. How famous you can get. But not many people know about them. They actually work with dome technology. It's a virtual reality, basically, technology, immersive technology, which they create hardware for planetariums, and they also create environment where you can use their equipment. You can install it in every university, and some companies buy them, and luckily some of them buy them after my lecture in that company. But as I found out last week when I visited that company in Kiev, they were first in the world to build 360 movie theater in South Korea. Just imagine a full globe and you have this glass floor and you can see environment all around you. And moreover, they create soft. You can create this lead conferences, make presentations in these planetariums. You can work with movies. You can work with sound. They've done all this soft, and also you can move those environments which they created. They made special constructions which you can buy and then transfer, bringing them, I don't know, on the green of your tea party somewhere in the park. And you can actually have it for 2 people, for hundreds of people. They can scale it up, scale it down. They can create it for you as you wish, in your expensive house or in university, or order for someone instead of pizza, who knows. But they also sell games, and these games are so unique. It's like playing virtual reality you used to, but you don't need to wear headphones. You just get in the room and you can shoot meteors, you can ride a car. In Japan, on Mondays they have lines of people waiting for new stuff, and they have not enough content. They invite a lot of developers to develop content for them. So just imagine, they already have a set of clientele that you can get numbers, and you can they will buy it, or you can get percentage of their sales. They're basically like having a publisher. It's like Xbox just looking for, has not enough games and looking for games. So just imagine how much you didn't know when you finding out these things which conquered all the world already, and you don't know about them. There are some teasers for 8 steps to build your VR AR experience in the company, how to start it. You'll read it later. And here are some cases for virtual reality and augmented reality you can deploy in your company right now as well, and you'll read it later without me. So far, let's talk about negative things. Negative things are numerous, and that's a big problem. For example, controllers. Controllers are not enough. They still limited. We still have not enough possibilities. We're trying to create gloves. We're trying to create as much interactive world in virtual reality, but still it's still under construction. We're still looking for something new because there's just not enough possibilities to create as interactive games as, for example, PCs, because there's a huge keyboard. You can do a lot of stuff, not in virtual reality. They develop gloves, and hopefully they will do. They develop even interactive with eye-controlled interactive masks. Who knows how it's going to go? Maybe in the future it'll work somehow out, but still it's not enough to build a full interactive experience. Also, hardware cost. It's a big problem. Hardware is very expensive for virtual reality, but if we go for cheaper numbers, and we'll see it later, people actually will ruin their house because it's a big problem. You underpay for quality, basically. So actually 26 million AR and VR headsets were owned in 2020. It's the last statistics by Inside Finances Online, and these 3 different research organizations actually proved that. Just imagine how it changed. They had 14 million VR devices sold in 2019, and right now 26 million AR and VR headsets owned last year. So you can see that the dynamics go up drastically, but we should remember that VR is not as popular as AR. AR is easier to implement, and a lot of people are trying to go into it, and we'll see later on some statistics about the dynamics. Getting non-gamers to commit. Usually when we talk about VR, people think about games. Still, especially in this area of the world, they're not used to meeting VR anywhere else, because also and I've been to some conferences in IT companies where people actually told by someone that VR is location-based entertainment, and as we're seeing the statistics, it's actually not. It's a lot of things, and especially in our areas where VR is not fully fledged, where it's not everywhere, where not many companies applying VR, actually it's very difficult. For example, VR video gaming revenues are expected to reach 2.4 billion in 2024, 2.4 billion, and we know mobile revenues hundreds fold more, and that's actually so virtual reality is not such a huge market. Unfortunately, companies which develop it, they not always think it out. Virtual reality statistics in 2021 show that virtual reality gaming revenue sits at 1.1 billion. So the dynamics are immense. Right now, COVID actually pushed virtual reality technology because people want to buy it, and it also sponsors the environment industry, and it also sponsors, and we don't have statistics, but trust me, there's a virtual reality esports. They actually have competitions, and there are like 8 disciplines, so it's quite an industry. So you can see that 0.5 billion grew to 22, but the numbers of the size of the market are not that precise. I have a couple statistics which show different numbers, but all of them agree on the fact that the market increases, and it's still worth getting into. You just need to get into contact with other virtual reality market representatives, because if you're just outsider and you're not getting into community, you will have hard time distributing it. You need to get into that channel where your consumer is. Of course, gaming will also remain the sector with the maximum VR investment, though its share is expected to come down, because a lot of people starting to look for different other experiences. For example, a lot of companies, gaming companies, they're getting outsourcing orders to develop soft for education. And it was the thing like 3-4 years ago. They already worked for that. And there are companies like Iridescent and which I mentioned before, who create just amazing interactive. For example, that's their virtual classroom company. They made special soft in 2018. You can see it on the top right for virtual reality conferences and also for virtual reality classrooms, and they made specific programs for specific subjects such as astronomy, such as physics, such as chemistry, and you can see how actually these are screenshots from the program. You can get in, and it's amazing when people get in a classroom. And the United States are applying it in huge amounts. It's like the biggest, it used to be the biggest market. But I'll show you later the statistics. China actually getting ahead. They have more investments now, but not application yet, not everywhere, not in schools. Okay, the problem also, the problem also with virtual reality developers, as we mentioned before, that they usually don't have a monetization plan. They have this cool technology, they want to work with that, they have passion, they see that possibility and the immersiveness of that practice, and they want to get in, and they start making it. They don't know who they're going to sell it. They don't have any opinions of a representative of the industry they want to make. They just think that they are doing a thing. It's cool with indie game development, because at first we self-express, then we learn to work with clients, then we're looking at or growing our own audience. But with virtual reality is more difficult, because they have to actually buy equipment to use your program, and that's a big thing. So if you're planning to work with virtual reality, you should consult with someone, with some evangelist, maybe in your local national association representatives, so they would hook you up with specialists, or they would think about someone who could help you with finding the clientele. Or you can just ask directly someone from business, from any kind of business, just asking, what would you need? And they will tell you, well, we could use virtual reality for this or for that. Unfortunately, not many people do that. But it's still the thing. It happens with all new areas of gaming, of technology, and so on. So monetization plan is very important. Also, problems of virtual reality that need to be solved in order to move the mainstream. There is a lot of them, and actually this is a small list. It's outdated, probably it's bigger now, but it's actually from health and safety of Oculus Rift. You can see that documentation lists symptoms: seizures, loss of awareness, eye strain, eye muscle twitching, and so on, involuntary. The thing is that virtual reality basically has, you shouldn't use it if you're ill or if you're sick with practically anything. If your immune system is down, you will have your perception will have hard time adjusting to new environment, and it will just go down. It will go down physically. You will faint, you will feel nauseous, and you will have all this diseaseness, disorientation, impaired balance, and so on and so on and so on, because it's all a big stress, and it's only fixed with your biological mechanism. Whenever you're ill with anything, your immunity is not giving you to straighten it out, to adjust. Because basically your mind is in battle with itself, getting different signals from different places. This is why walking in virtual reality is is very unrecommended, because when you're walking in game and your perception tells you that you're walking, but your legs are not walking, and there's a lot of types of senses which are used to determine it. So your different types of perception, they come into contradiction. And it's a battle which has to win, to be won by someone. You have to win it for yourself, not feeling bad. So if you're ill practically with anything, as research shows, in 95% of cases, you shouldn't use virtual reality, or you will feel negative effects very quickly, like 5 minutes or so. Okay, and this also a picture just basically from a very real health dangers of virtual reality, and there's a lot there. You basically it limits the use of virtual reality by age. It shows that it's dangerous to stumble upon stuff. We really, and one of the biggest problem is environment where you're getting into virtual reality, because when you're there, you don't see anything around you, and you can just fall over your glass table and die. You can hit your head on anything. You can break stuff, break your leg, or fallen out of the window, and that's just things could happen. Things happened with Pokemon Go, which was discussed by previous speaker, like that. And just imagine when you don't see anything around you. So people are out of this world, and in that moment they are extremely vulnerable. It's also a big risk, and that means that you have to have safety measure, you have to have safety environment. Perhaps in some households they would have a special room for that. Who knows in the future? But it's a problem, and that, for example, not a problem for the different type of virtual reality, which is dome technology, where you have already environment where you interact. Some problems actually solved there, which we will discuss later. For example, solved with major health concern about virtual reality, which involves the eye. Because you have screen right in front of your eyes, and you have no person in the world who will not tell you that it's bad. Whatever you hold anything in front of your eyes, when your child is holding something right in front of your eyes, you tell him, don't hold it so close because it's bad for your eyes. And virtual reality basically makes us do that. And with poorer technology, like cheaper headsets, mobile virtual reality, we destroy our eyesight even quicker. And it's a major problem, which actually is not the only one. Not only the eyes suffer, but also virtual reality can confuse the eye-brain connection. Because when you have certain feel in virtual reality, you have rain or snow, and around you is warmth, you basically can have a problem, because as you know, you can persuade yourself to have certain senses, like to feel warmth or coldness. You can make yourself do that, but and it's a very sensitive system which helps you to survive. Your body helps you to cool down when it's hot. Your body helps you to warm up when it's cold. But when you break this connection, the brain can get confused, and then you will get sweaty in all the wrong times. And it happens with people overweight, and it happens with some other people who just travel a lot. They have the system disrupted. We tried to work, for example, working on Game Pros, we tried to work on it, for example, with eye-brain connection. Also, one of the problems is that your eyes see differently. And when you have virtual reality like program, usually you see everything equally sharp. It doesn't work like that in your real eye. You have focus, you have attention, and usually everything around it blurry. When you focus on something, everything else becomes blurry, and it's a problem. So, for example, in working with pros team on the Game Pros, which was on the top 20 in some virtual reality shops, so you can check out. We actually tried to implement the the laws of perception, psychological laws of perception, within the program to lessen motion sickness and so on, because there's less strain on comprehension what's going on. So the person would have like, you know, tunneling vision when they run. So when you see only something ahead of you and you don't see everything moving around you, they have focus there. If you take something in your hand, you focus on it and everything else will become blurry, which is normal thing. So they tried to implement technically what we had in research, by the way, after lecture like that, which is awesome. Also, oh, I did mention one cool company. There's Ugluk. It's a research team. They even, in virtual reality, they actually were experimenting with color perception. And they started, and you know that many colors are united other colors. And they found colors which don't exist in physical life, and we can't get them. So it's amazing. I yet to get their research, but it's something unique that they found in virtual reality. Color, which we don't have the name for. It's cool. So virtual reality gives us more possibilities, but we still need to learn to use it. And it's still far from what actually our perception does. Also, the same problem with listening. Listening to sound at high volumes can cause irreparable damage to your hearing and brain as well. As you know, a lot of people listen to music in headphones in their young age, and then they don't like that. I don't like it. I used to carry headphones all the time when I was a student, when I was a teenager, and now I don't like it because I feel that it's not healthy and I'm getting problems. And it is bad. You know, your mobile tells you that regularly when you're wearing headphones. And in virtual reality, you practically have to do it. So can you imagine that you're doing all things which obviously wrong, and you're always told that you shouldn't be doing it. You are told to do it by virtual reality headset companies. And you're doing it, and you consider it a privileged experience. Isn't it? Imagine marketing working? Yes. PR is wonderful, but it's bad. Also, another problem of virtual reality is connected with medical equipment. And if you have some kind of implants, some electronics devices which help your body to function, they can malfunction because of that. It's a big problem. So, okay, also virtual reality headsets could put children's health at risk. Basically, if you read carefully the instructions and safety measures of every virtual reality headset, you will understand that you're not to give it to children. But who uses it most popularly at birthdays? Whenever you rent a place for a child, usually there's a virtual reality headset which they line up to use. Why is it wrong? Because well, who knows? You know, human being is such a complex creature. We're like, well, in a positive way, we're like cockroaches. We adjust somehow. And some people say that we're disrupting the land and we're the worst thing happened to the earth. But like cockroaches, basically. Who knows? Maybe maybe new generation, due to virtual reality, will develop some new possibilities. Maybe they don't need such a firm connection with reality, but when their children are young, they have this process of forming connections between synapses. Synapses is little neurons like in your brain, connections between like parts of your brains. They forming it, but when they go into virtual reality, they can misform it. They can form it wrongly, or it can really damage them. Because this is why the researchers of Leeds University, they found that 20-minute game risked vision and balance problems for players aged 8 to 12, from 8 to 12 years of age. So, so you should be really careful giving them to play. Who knows? Maybe they adjust and adopt quicker, and they will get new features, new tolerance. But so far, research shows that it's dangerous, and psychiatrists agree. We've noticed also we were doing research for the first lecture for SoftServe. I think I was hired to do that, and we noticed that it's a huge problem when that it's a huge problem when a person is a sportsman. They have more resistance from body because they are used to controlling reality and to use type of perception which normal people, more lazy people or IT specialists, they don't really use that often. So sportsmen, they have more resistance to virtual reality. It becomes like a contradicting signal which their immune system has to battle. It's like a distraction, because it is a distraction. And everything you perceive, at one point, it becomes reality. So this is a problem. Your brain is trying to determine what is your reality now and what it's better to be. And that's a problem. If you get too deep immersed into certain environment which is far from real, it's also a problem because you're becoming too vulnerable. Okay. Virtual reality can also affect your perception of reality, and that's always a problem. But they were saying it about computer games at one point, and they were saying it about Dungeons and Dragons. It's the same thing. So let's just go further. Okay. Upon important trends, now we will have a lot of numbers, important trends and market information, important trends for virtual reality for 2021. It's not over yet, but still, we're noticing that AR and VR are increasingly enhanced with artificial intelligence. As previously was discussed by a speaker, that machine learning is a thing, and they're creating like animals and so on. Actually, in Latvia, you actually had blockchain cuties, which was a big thing for crypto gaming. I don't know why he didn't mention, but it's awesome. They have all these possibilities, and you know it by ads bombarding something you Googled up just recently. So also, virtual reality and augmented reality will increasingly be used in trading and teaching, which is in some countries already a huge percent. In our countries, it's just coming, but in other countries, why is it good? It's also good because usually now in schools, for example, during COVID situation, just imagine a pupil getting online, and you know how hard to hold their attention. And just imagine this same child getting a headgear on. Okay, he's in other environment. What he can get distracted there with nothing. He's there in the classroom. You can see him and you can interact with him. His presence is there. So they get more attention and their experience more immersed in the class. Something which even in reality is difficult to achieve because there are windows, there's everything. You can't control environment around you fully. Consumer entertainment VR hits the mainstream. Yes, it does, because entertainment now is not only games. It's virtual trips, it's virtual museums, virtual cinemas. Okay, there's actually they're making movies, and you know, web VR is a thing. Of course, it's a cheaper thing, less quality thing, but it's a thing as well. And more, I mean, entertainment. It also it's usually not discussed, and I don't have all the statistics, but it shows that in porn industry, all porn actresses already for like 4 or 5 years, they have virtual reality diaries in virtual reality, web virtual reality. So this already applied in many areas, and a lot of bloggers are attempting it. You know that cameras 360s, a lot of bloggers carry it, and they try to do pretty cool environments. Okay. Virtual reality and augmented reality environments become increasingly collaborative and social, and AR increasingly finding a way into vehicles. Indeed, it's also a trend for game industry altogether. People want to play in cars because now they travel more. Often in developed countries, they have houses out of the office, far from office. Sometimes they have to travel for 2 hours, for an hour and a half. They get in a traffic jam, and they want to spend time somehow to entertain themselves, also to lessen the stress. And this is why they really required for virtual reality or augmented reality to be also accessed. And also, this is the thing also for online casinos and for everything. They want to do something in the car. Without losing the connection with reality, because they need to know when the traffic jam is moving. But still, AR in the car is a thing. Okay, And the one leader, emerging leader, we all know that United States were the leader of virtual reality investment and everything, but now China is projected to have the most substantial AR/VR spending worldwide in 2024. Virtual reality markets, okay, predictions have been made that China will have the most significant AR/VR spending at 36% by the same year, 2024. Closely followed by United States and Western Europe. The recent statistics shows that China was the largest AR/VR spender in 2020. In 2020, they spent $5.8 billion. And that's the result of researchers of two different research organizations. So it's quite high probability that it's true. The US was the second biggest spender. They have 5.1 billion, followed by Western Europe 3.3 billion. More than that, virtual reality market statistics indicate that China accounted for over 38% of the global AR/VR share in 2020. This value will increase by 56% by the end of 21. Can you imagine? They're going into it. They understand it. And why? Look at that. Actually, we will see the statistics later, but China actually, oh, here is it. The implementation level of VR in manufacturing is the highest in China. 21% of all manufacturers actually apply virtual reality. Can you imagine that? They focus on that because virtual reality can improve production, especially in engineering and everything. So you can imagine how deep it goes if China already applied in 51% of their companies. Okay, the engineering industry will derive great benefits from the adoption of virtual reality. According to statistics for 2021, the implementation of development of virtual reality in engineering can reduce model design time by 10%, which is a lot, and construction time by 7%. And that's quite a lot because construction always unhealthy point, so to say, everywhere. The results in an increase in overall efficiency. Worldwide spending on VR content and apps is forecasted to reach 3.77. But that's actually worldwide spending, but these numbers differ. For example, when we look at some other statistics, they show that virtual reality actually still has a market 1.1 billion or 5.5 billion, which is kind of strange, but they don't disclose what areas or what features they consider. They just give the numbers. This is why it's very difficult to compare the numbers and discuss them. Okay, there are a lot of numbers which I will skip because we're having only a couple minutes left, that's a couple minutes. I still have like 70 slides, so don't worry, we will have enough. For example, 43% of manufacturing companies say that VR will become mainstream in their organization within the next 3 years. So here you are, you want to develop virtual reality, go find those companies, which are 43%, I would say, and you can offer them something to do with VR. This is why a lot of companies are creating quite interesting virtual reality and augmented reality test displays to show to clientele, like SoftServe's EPAM system, and they have virtual reality departments, and they do focus their clients some stuff. It's interesting in SoftServe, I can say it now because I don't have any NDA with them, but it's interesting when they were looking how to demonstrate their augmented reality skills to clients, and because clients used to be the main clientele, as you see, China and United States, and they made augmented reality on dollars. So when you would look through their application onto dollar bills, the presidents would start singing. It was awesome. It was selling them pretty good to Americans. So you can use the idea and show it to, and make something for with the money of your investor's country or something like that. They had them singing individual songs, and when they're together, they were singing Christmas carols. That was pretty charismatic. Also, they've done some charity project just to train. They've done, for example, in Ukraine, Tustin Museum, they had their historically awesome wooden castle. It's like in Telltale Game of Thrones chapter, they have this wooden castle of another clan, and similar, even better, they had in Kiev, and they reconstructed it in augmented reality, and they just made it as a present, a social project. Of course, they stumbled upon many problems because, for example, when it's snowing, you have to go and scan everything again because everything changes. All the environment changes, and you have to adjust. But it was a nice exhibition piece, and they could show to their clients that they can do it, and they got some experience. So many companies getting onto it because the clientele are getting numerous. Okay, 22% of the companies implementing AR, VR indicate that the benefits exceed expectations. Indeed, people more eager to work with it. It helps you to see things, three-dimensional things, which we actually need help with. Imagining things three-dimensional. Not everyone can do that. Architects and some 3D modelers and some artists, but not everyone actually learns how to imagine 3D objects. And when you have bigger construction, when you have to take care of bigger environment, they really are looking for something like that. For example, we developed AR, like AR management, so to say, app with combat vision for military. But when we developed it, it was something to manage in teams and to mark things on the map. And the biggest offer we've got, we were offered to sell it for many millions by a company which actually was a cleaning company from New York. They needed this program to coordinate their cleaners in the big office buildings, multi-store, like 100-store buildings. We wouldn't even think about it. We thought about like softball games, I don't know, some military games, milsim, maybe some sport games or some parties. But here is its cleaning company. We can't even think about such scale, and they need 3D because it's multi-story office building. Okay, repair and maintenance are the most popular focus of AR, VR implementation efforts in manufacturing, which is awesome because when something malfunctions, you suddenly can see in virtual reality or augmented reality, you can see where the damage is, and it's easy to plan how to get there, what to do, who to send, and easy to teach as well. New workers and so on. Okay, there's a lot of data. Consumers feel 80% of consumers feel positive about experiencing branded virtual reality tactics. What does it mean? It means branded. It means that more the advertised ones. The branded virtual reality tactics. It means when they advertised virtual reality. When they have offered virtual reality technology, they feel comfortable because I guess people still think that when they see virtual reality advertisement, they're living the future. Also, interesting that Samsung is still most popular virtual reality product for some reason. Quite interesting, which is unexpected. Okay. A lot of numbers. You will be very glad to see them without me. And virtual reality trends indicate an upward movement in the VR, AR adoption rate in the United States, which is pretty interesting. Looks like more and more people in the United States are using virtual reality, and it becomes easier to find clientele there. 25% of internet users will be using VR in the US by the end of 2023, which indicated by two different research organizations, as you can see on the source on the slide. So it will amount to about 70.2 million people, which is quite a huge share. What also would be required? people are looking for possibilities to make cheaper headsets because they will increase adoption, not of people, but they will increase adoption of the mindset toward VR, because so far it's still expensive, especially a quality one. Also, more professionals are considering adopting VR/AR for training purposes, which shows that, and you know that everybody gets training. So this VR/AR equipment will really be required by everyone everywhere. So the market is huge, especially in this area. And if equipment will be bought centralized, it means that they will be having competition which equipment to buy. And it means that price will matter, because they will need to buy, for example, for all schools, for colleges, for all medical schools. And it's really something you have to think of if you're working with VR, because technologies are not like games. When you're making games connected with technology, you need also to think about environment you sell to. Mobile VR, by the way, the sales of mobile VR are decreasing. It was more popular at one point. It's still popular than usual headsets because they're cheap and people think, oh yeah, I can put my mobile telephone because it becomes better, the quality of the picture, but still it's much worse for your eyes than usual VR. And mobile VR is decreasing because people feel the negative effect, and they see that when they're in VR with mobile, the battery dies quicker, so you basically don't have the same experience, and it doesn't pay up. Well, but it's still a good birthday present, not very expensive, not very cheap, it looks cool. And you can buy it in any shop, and basically more or less big. So the sales of smartphone VR devices constantly fall over the years. So that's a good thing. Also, standalone VR as entry-level VR experience is a good thing. This why it's more popular it's very good when different VR places are developed where people can go and try and test something. Even you shouldn't think about it as just you can do it for free, so people would experience it. Then their tendency towards VR will be more opened, and they will actually promote at work. They will be more eager to apply it. So virtual reality as a standalone experience is a very good thing to promote the business, and still people are still to be educated about it. This is why it's very important. Demand for standalone VR devices will grow over 16 times between 2018 and 2022, which, according to CCS Insight, in 2022 is expected to sell 18 million units. Also, focus on usability, easy to stop, easy to use. We discussed that there is a problem in virtual reality with environment where you're at. And it means that the more wires you have, they are danger because you can trip over them. How difficult it is to tune them, also quite a thing, because you can, if they are difficult to adjust, difficult to calibrate, then people will have trouble setting them up at home. It means you can have to invite someone. So user friendliness, UX is very important, and also as least of wires as possible are required, because they impair the environment which has to be used for virtual reality experience, and they pose as danger, especially for younger users, which are small, and the wires compared to them are big. So there is demand to find new ways to set it up, new ways to adjust, and new ways, in some virtual reality environments, they really want to set up more sensors. So the movement would be more adjusted to the picture and more precise. Also, new technologies that improve virtual reality performance. This actually Tesla suit, which is awesome, the best full body virtual reality costume in the world so far, and it's Belarusian, which we're happy to say all the time whenever we can have a chance to. But it's even better now. It's an old picture. They have sensors. They can fully monitor what happens with a human being. It's just invaluable to any human being research. In which circumstances, what happens with a person. Just imagine they have 68 different sensors sensor points all over your body, and now they have even more. They can control heat and cold sensors in this costume. They can even sometimes adjust pain. By the way, for virtual reality training in police departments of the world, they actually developed a pain sensors, so people would feel pain, because when they train people without sense of pain, they notice that their reflexes, they don't have this survival reflexes. They don't have they have instincts dulled, and they're not afraid to go into shootout because they're not afraid. They don't have the sense of fear of pain or death. So they actually developed virtual reality vests which actually cause you pain. It's a wonderful achievement for virtual reality altogether. Yes. Okay, new ways to deliver content and experiences in 360-degree videos. By the way, the first 360 full motion picture and full 360 advertisement was made by Front Pictures as well. They made it for LG, and it was tough to film it because they could not hide anywhere. You don't have the set. You have it all around you. And you need to film something. So they had remote cameras, and they were indeed hiding somewhere, looking through monitors what to do, because they really couldn't. You can't have somewhere a director sitting and watching it. You don't have people like all around actors like usually out of the picture, so to say. Picture is everywhere, and that's a new way of making films. Also, there are some numbers which you will be able to read about the production, which also change regularly and depends who you turn to, about what challenges to shoot, what are costs, and approximately it's from $10,000 to $50,000 per minute usually. VR content production is costing you. Shooting requires advanced planning. Careful use of motion will reduce or eliminate motion sickness. Post-production can take a lot longer due to stitching and the editing process, because there are more things, not just a picture. You know, they used to even cut the film and glue it together and it was it, but now you have to put like a whole round environment, and there are more things you have to stitch. Distribution is not 100% defined yet. It means that you can't plan your audience. It's very difficult still. Costs are somewhat prohibitive to smaller brands. It means that there's unlikely will be independent movie maker who will make a, like art house movie, but still it's coming. Web virtual reality production is somehow cheaper, but still. But there are movies in virtual reality which are getting a lot of prizes and appraisals, which are awesome. It's like, you know, some movies from games are getting nominated for Oscars and so on. So gaming industry and virtual reality technologies, they're going deep into entertainment altogether. Also shopping. It's amazing how shops are so popular in virtual reality, especially in Asia, in Hong Kong, in Japan, in China. They actually create virtual reality shops where you can walk around, you can look at your goods, and for some reason, when people see the picture and the price, they don't trust as much as when they can touch it in virtual reality, see the same price, the same picture, but they trust somehow more and buy more. And that's pretty cool. And also, it's quite interactive. People actually have the sense that they actually went to the shop. So VR is gradually gaining ground in e-commerce, as Vagsoft research shows. VR stats for 2021 show that the adoption of virtual reality in e-commerce can boost online shopping conversion by 17%. For comparison, the average e-commerce conversion rate is 2%. Virtual reality experiences can significantly influence the purchase decision of customers. So you can see that actually it might seem that as an expensive decision for e-commerce, but it pays up. Of course, education. A lot of things about education we already mentioned, and in virtual reality in classroom is more and more more and more used in advanced countries and more developed countries. Because just imagine, there are a lot of statistics on these pictures. You will see them later without me because we have only like 4 minutes left. Social activities, of course, people want to interact in games and in virtual reality, and there are a lot of numbers that show that people actually, the Facebook was the world's largest vendor for VR headsets in 2020. So so the role of social media and social nets, is increasing. Also, new tracking technologies, VR from inside out, they're actually looking for new possibilities to make virtual reality more precise, to get motion capture and everything. So you can set it up around your room and might move more precisely, and it would be reflected in the game. It would make it more interactive. Maybe in the future it will play a part. Also, more innovative tools. There's a lot of everything, and because we have a lot of stuff to tease you, you can see that a lot of awesome visual graphics, and I would say that keep it real. Nothing still sustains reality. And any questions, please?
We do have the time for one question. So is there anyone with a question? Then I have one. So, okay, one thing that really caught my attention. You said they discovered a color,
yes,
that doesn't exist in real life. But
yeah,
if you put on VR, you cannot see it, right?
well, somehow they bombarded the eye sensors with different colors, mixing them and they found a new color, because you can make it shine there, you can make like play with lights and so on. So they found color. I still yet to get there. I got that news from them, and this is why I put them on the list, like to mention, because it's something amazing. And hopefully I will get their research published. They want to publish it first before someone mentions it, which is good. And then I will be able to show you numbers and everything, which is interesting. It's fascinating. I can hook you up with them. It's awesome. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, that will be all. And thank you so much for your talk.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If any more questions, just feel free writing me or contacting organizers. They'll hook you up.